Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Liz Greenhill.
Lisa France was an object of lust on my college campus, even though Lisa France had probably never even set foot on my college campus. Lisa France was a bartender at the local gay bar, this place called the Congress, and Lisa France had seduced an unseducible professor at our school, and that made her a sexual legend. Now, I had been to the Congress before, several times with friends. You know, we'd go as a group and we'd play pool, and we were allowed to drink there even though we were underage because they never carded. And every time I went there, I had my eye out for Lisa France. You know, I'd caught glimpses of her, and I was so enchanted by her. She was so sexy. She was like smoking hot. And I had these stories made up in my head about the kind of woman that Lisa France would go out with. And I pictured her to be somebody tall and sophisticated, you know, somebody who was worldly enough to know how to like hail a taxi or order a cocktail, you know, that kind of woman. And, you know, that wasn't me at all. Lisa France was totally out of my league. For all those reasons, and because she was a bartender. And, you know, to me at that point in my life when I was underage, you know, being a bartender was so badass. It was like being a pirate, you know. It's like Lisa France, like, guarded a treasure trove of liquor, and, like, she knew what to do with it. So, you know, I was just, like, tantalized by the rumors and by, like, a glimpse of seeing her. And my crush on her wasn't like so much that I wanted to have sex with her or thought I could have sex with her. It was more like I wanted to be her. So this was a time in my life, you know, I was in college and I was like slowly, clumsily kind of coming out of the closet. You know, I'd had some like dark and gropey encounters with girls, but I hadn't had a girlfriend yet. And I was like trying on gay, you know. I had short hair, so I bleached it blonde and like perfected the bedhead thing, and I got my nipples pierced, and like, you know, I shopped at the boys section of Goodwill, you know. So, but I was still like quietly gay, you know. My gaydar on campus was still pretty low. So one night, I'm hanging out with my friend Jeff in his dorm room. I hung out in the dorms a lot, even though I had an apartment like on the edge of campus with some friends. And so we're in Jeff's dorm room, and, you know, Jeff was like a raver boy, you know, because this was the 90s, and, you know, which meant his pants were like 10 sizes too big, and he had a pacifier around his neck. So we're hanging out in his room, and we're restless. It's Saturday night, and we don't know what to do, and I say, oh, I know, let's go to the Congress. And Jeff's like, okay. So we get in my car, and we're driving to the Congress, and on the way, I admit to him that the reason I want to go is because I want to see if Lisa France is working tonight. So he's clear about our mission, and he's in on it. So the thing about the Congress is that it's kind of far from campus. It's like 10-minute drive into downtown. And downtown is like dark and scary and dangerous. And you would never go there if you didn't have good reason. You know, you'd never go there at night unless you were going to the Congress, if you were like brave, like we were. So, you know, we're driving there, and we have to park in this kind of creepy little parking lot with this chain link fence that you're supposed to be okay to park in, and then we have to recognize the door because the Congress is an unmarked bar. There's no sign. It's just in this crumbly building, and, you know, we had to remember where it was, but we found it. It's cool. So, you know, we open the door to the Congress, and it's just like it always is. Like, it's really lively and smoky and loud, and you walk in, and there's this long antique bar, and there's all these stools, and like there's always all these like geezers sitting at the front, like these old men, and, you know, you don't really know, like, are they gay, or are they like old gay rights activists, or like do they not even know it's a gay bar? Like, you don't know, but they're always there. And then, you know, there's this long bar, and then the room opens up, and there's like all these pool tables and a jukebox, and The walls are green, and there's animal heads all over the perimeter of the room, like moose and elk, and I don't know why, but it was. They're like watching you. But, and then, it's filled with interesting people, because, there's drag queens and butch dykes and baby dykes and like every variety of gay man and, young and old. And then there's like lots of college kids like me and Jeff. So this night, we open the door and like scanning, like other bartender, tending geezers, voila, Lisa France, she's there. And there's like 2 seats right in front of her section at the bar. So Jeff and I go and we sit down. And I order from Lisa France 2 tequila shots because that's all we ever used to drink back then. I don't know why. And that's probably like all we knew. And she delivers them with a smile. And so I'm just kind of staring at her, and she's so stunning to me. She's so sexy. She's got this olive skin and these like black ringlets and this really delicate nose and these like perfect sculpted lips. And she has these really dark eyes and long lashes. And she's like really strong but really slim, She's like this perfect blend of like masculine and feminine that I've always found like really hot. And she's wearing this like white rib tight tank top and this nice like tight pair of jeans. And I'm just like, and I'm watching like every move. And she catches on that I'm watching her. And so she starts to turn around every once in a while and like, smile at me and look at me. And I'm just like all aflutter, And so before I know it, she's standing right in front of us and she's sliding me 2 little tequila shots. And she says, "These are on the house." She winks at me. And I'm just like, oh my God. I'm like, did Lisa France just buy me a drink? And I look around because I'm like, did she buy everyone a drink? But she didn't. Because I look at Jeff and he's like surprised but impressed. And he's like, "You go, girl," And I'm just like, oh my God, Lisa France like poured me liquid pirate gold, like gave it to me. So I'm feeling swoony, but I'm also feeling braver. And so when I make sure that I have Lisa's eye when I like lick the salt off. And I mimic her look, because she has this look. She does this like half lowered eye thing and this like sly smile, So I do it. I try it on and it works. She sly smiles back at me. So I'm just like, my heart flips into my stomach and jumps up again and I cream my pants and I'm just like, ah! So, I'm trying to hold my end of the conversation with Jeff. I'm like, right, And then I see that Lisa France is like standing in front of me and she's like mopping the bar like way too much. And she's just like looking at me. She's mopping the bar. And she leans in and she snaps the tank top on my shirt and she goes, "I like your shirt." And I'm just like, oh my God. Because even then I knew that "I like your shirt" means I like your tits. Because that's what it means really in that context. I think, I'm like, oh my God. And that was like that was a come on and I knew it. So I'm kind of like freaking out and I'm thinking like, this is so exciting. Like, I mean, this is it, like, think of how much I have to brag about, that I can go back to school and be like, Lisa France brought me a drink and she liked my tits, or at least maybe she liked my shirt. And, so I'm really set. I'm just like, this has been an incredible night. It's getting like close to the bar ending, closing, and Jeff and I need to get home. So we kind of start to get ready to go. And that's when the unthinkable happens. Lisa France leans over the bar and whispers in my ear, "I want to take you home with me tonight." And I am speechless. And I need to talk to Jeff, but I can't do it in front of Lisa France. So I pull him outside into the parking lot for a conference. And I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? because I totally want to do this, but like I'm scared, and like, you know, if I do that, then you're gonna have to drive my car back to campus, and like then I'm putting my hands, like myself and Lisa France's hands, and like I'm trusting her to like get me home, and it's scary and it's dangerous here, and you shouldn't be outside, and like, and oh my God, by the way, I've never been with a woman before, I've only been with girls. And Jeff's like, get a hold of yourself, like, do you want this? And I'm like, yeah, yes. And he's like, okay, like, take the bull by the horns and like go fuck Lisa France. And I'm like, okay, okay, I can do it. So I give Jeff the keys to my Corolla, and he drives away into the dark, scary night. And there I am in the parking lot, like, okay, right? So I open the door to the bar, and the geezers start clapping and cheering. And I'm like walking inside, and Lisa France is standing there at the end of the bar, and she gives me this look, and she says, I didn't know if you were coming back or not. And I'm like, like walking towards her, and she spins me around in like a movie star way and gives me this huge kiss, and the geezers go wild. They're like standing and like screaming, you know, cheering us on. And Lisa France like throws her bar towel to the other bartender, and she's like, thanks for closing up for me. And he's like, you got it. And so out we go. You know, her arms around my waist, and like we're out in the parking lot, we're getting in her car, and I'm like numbly buckling my seatbelt, and she's like, where do you live? And I'm like, oh, like, thought we were going to her house. Okay, that's cool. Like, so I tell her how to get to my apartment, and then we're creeping up the stairs because we don't want to wake my roommates who are already sleeping. And then we're like going into my bedroom, and she closes the door behind her, and she stands against it. She tells me to take off my shirt. And she's looking at me like with her luscious predator eyes. And so I take off my shirt, and she tells me she likes what she sees, and that she was getting like all wet at the bar, like looking at my tits, and I'm like, I knew it. So, and then we're just like making out. We're just like all over each other, you know. We're up against the wall, and then she's got me down on my futon, and she's going down on me, and she tells me, you taste like butterscotch. She really did. And then we're just like, she's like fingering me, and it's like amazing. Like, it's like nothing else I've ever felt before. It's like a far cry from Gropey Girls, even though they were great. It's just like amazing because like Lisa France knows a pussy like the back of her hand, and then some. And all the while, she's just like totally like reading my body, you know. She's just like, she's assessing me, and she's like figuring out exactly what it is that's going to take me over the edge. And the crazy thing is, she never took her pants off. She wore her jeans the entire time, and she still came because I grinded her against my leg using some of her maneuvers that I've been learning. And she came. It was all like hot and wet and quivering the way that it is when you're naked. It happened. And it was like, you know, an amazing experience. And because the whole time, like, she was looking at me with these eyes, like, just focused on me. And sometimes they were, like, playful, and sometimes they were really intense, and sometimes they were, you know, just kind, but always, like, really hot. And she just showed me this way to be a lover with, like, confidence and ease and, like, this incredible connection, even though we hardly knew each other. And you know, that ended up being the only night we ever had together, but it was the only one we needed, because after that night, I was bolder and I was braver, and I was ready to go out into the world and become someone else's Lisa France. Thank you.